All right. Welcome to the People Strategy Forum podcast. We're a show that guides leaders on how to elevate the workforce. We believe that people are at the heart of successful organizations and that team members' well being, rewards, career development, it's all essential to a happy, highly productive workforce. So, this show discusses the practical and effective leadership strategies for top executives, senior professionals, and talent managers overall. Now, today, I want to ensure that we're introducing to you our hosts. And our first host that I'd like to introduce you to is Howard Niswitz. Howard is a senior, seasoned compensation advisor and strategic HR consultant with over 30 years of experience. And Howard is, and we've worked together for a number of years, so it's great to have him here on the show. And then my name is Sam Reeve. I'm the founder of CompTeam and an expert in global compensation and talent management strategies. So I'm excited today to bring to you an exceptional speaker. Today, we're going to dive into the art of crafting unforgettable employee experiences. We're joined today by Brad Norwood. He's a visionary founder of DreamIT. Brad brings a unique perspective from his extensive background in luxury golf travel and high-end hospitality, perfected through his earlier ventures, such as the executive golf packages. Since stepping into the scene at the University of Arkansas and transitioning from an aspiring teaching profession to an architect of exceptional experience, Brad has mastered the integration of service and satisfaction into every offer. So with DreamIT, he goes beyond the norm to create personalized experiences that are not just memorable, but also transformational, turning everyday dreams into tangible realities. So as we explore this profound impact of memorable experiences on employee retention and motivation and rewards, Brad's insights promise to be both enlightening and inspirational for our listeners. So let's jump in. So welcome, Brad.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it, Howard. Thank you very much. Glad to be here today.
So first, Brad, as we get started here, it would be great to just kind of dive into how did you get to where you are today? I mean, what really drove you into this particular career?
So I tell people often I have the spiritual gift of hospitality. I just love to host and entertain people. I'm a firm believer that no matter where you are in the world, everyone should feel welcome. And then put the cart before the horse, but everybody should also feel rewarded and recognized. And so in my previous life, I like to say I was a high school and junior high teacher in a juvenile detention center, but I'm an avid golfer, and that gift of hospitality always came through me in golf trips with buddies trips that I would do and eventually put together. And I thought, you know what, I've got a passion for golf. I love hospitality. I'm going to start building these golf trips for people around the country. And so I began doing that. And as people would take these golf trips around the country, they would often compliment on how well organized it was, how great of an experience it was. And, how did I come up with such a concept of doing such a thing? I said, well, I really just took a life that I wanted to live and created it. And so, in that, after several years of doing golf packages, the question became, well, how do you get to, I want to go to the Masters. How do you get to that? And so I, again, just like putting golf packages together, I went and figured it out. And so started doing trips to the Masters and realized that that really was an experience that was captivating people. It's a bucket list item for almost every golfer, any person that has ever played golf, even somewhat seriously. The Masters, the first Sunday in April, we all sat down and watched with awe Augusta National. And so I started figuring out how to get people there and how to reward people with those experiences. And after a few years of doing that, I would do this on a private charter plane, by the way. And so we would fly out of Northwest Arkansas or Central Oklahoma down to Augusta in one day and come back. And so we would spend all day on the golf course and then fly back. And on the third year that I did that, we ran into a major storm, and the pilot came over intercom on the aircraft, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and he says, "There's a major storm, and we're going to have to divert, and we're going to be in St. Louis." And immediately, I panicked because I had no plans for this. We didn't have hotel rooms, much less in Augusta, Georgia. I didn't have them in St. Louis, Missouri by any means. I didn't have any transportation available for anybody if we needed to get to hotels. And I just realized at that time, whoa, I've done something wrong here. I've got way too much risk involved in this trip for when things can go wrong. And immediately I started, my hospitality gene kicked in. And I thought, well, I've got to take steps of what can go wrong, will go wrong, and how do I prevent these things from happening. I started coordinating, and believe it or not, at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, ended up finding enough hotel rooms in St. Louis. And this was before Uber ever came around. I found enough cab rides available and a small bus service that was going to be able to take 50 people from the airport to various hotels across the city and then bring them back at 5 a.m. when we could finally fly out. But by the grace of God, the storm stopped, and we were able to, at right before midnight, get back on the plane and get back home safely to Northwest Arkansas. And so it was that trip that really had my mind shifting on what an incredible day that was, but how quickly it could have been ruined, and how much more can I prepare. We can't control the weather, but how much better could I have been prepared if I knew that something was going wrong? And as I was thinking about all this, I started going through my list of attendees, and I realized that I didn't know all of the attendees. And that was really weird to me. It was puzzling to me. Well, what I realized was that I didn't know the attendees because the 8 or 9 that I did know brought top employees, their top performers. They brought customers and other people that they wanted to entertain and potential prospects. And they brought them on this trip as a way to reward and recognize them. And so as I was going through a little bit of restructuring and looking at risk, I then thought, okay, it's time to rebrand. I need to rebrand totally out of golf, and I need to encapsulate people in these experiences that go on all around the country. So let's look at, selfishly, my bucket list: the Kentucky Derby, the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl, the college football playoff, the Masters. And so I built what then became DreamIT Professional Events and Entertainment. And you were asking me this before the show, Sam, but the IT is really supposed to stand for incentive travel, because I wanted people to be using these experiences as employee and customer incentives. And so that's what the IT technically stands for. But people ask me all the time, what does it stand for? And I said, well, it stands for whatever you want it to stand for. Because if you or your people can dream it, then we want to help you design that. And I love, thank you for the compliment to calling me an architect of exceptional experiences. But that's exactly what we want to do. We want to be that architect of something that's exceptional, something they've always dreamed of, but haven't just done, whether they haven't taken the time out of their own lives to do it, or just haven't really thought it was really possible, right? Like I like to tell people all the time, you dream when you're in bed, but I want you to dream with your eyes wide open. I want you to live every day chasing after that dream, and you'll do it if you write it down and you know that a date is possible that it can be accomplished by. Then let us be, as you said, Sam, let us be the architect of it.
I love that. I love that. So one thing that, as a rewards professional, I know that Howard can attest to this. When we're thinking about what really sticks with with people, it really motivates and attracts and retains them. First of all, we all need to work, right? And so cash and pay is important. Our base salary and incentives like that, they're all important to getting things done, or getting life done. We need to pay for rent. We need to pay for our children's education and retirement and so forth. But when we're thinking about those exceptional awards, are often fall in the non-cash category. These are the type of rewards that we don't forget easily. They're personal. Somebody designed this. They gave me this thing, and they put some thought into it. Or in your case, Brad, I mean, creating exceptional experiences. People don't forget that. It is a top tier reward, meaning that it costs upwards of probably over $500 and per reward, mostly in the thousands, right? But when we're looking at our real high performing employees, those that are cherished, and we want to retain and motivate, they're not going to easily forget that experience. And that's why I love this category of non-cash rewards. So you brought up something. Well, first of all, let's just dig into that a little bit. What have been your experiences in working with your clients on how meaningful these rewards are?
So retention is the thing people talk about the most, right? We have a particular home improvement center that we work with as a client, and they love to tell me the story that they sell a particular brand of flooring that they kind of push that flooring a little bit more than they do others. And I asked him when I built my own personal house, I said, I'm just going to ask you why this type of flooring over some of the others. And he said, in all honesty, they do a trip. And we like to earn that trip. And my wife likes to go on that trip. And it's like you said, it's all about the experiences. It's not always about the money. He might make more money on a different type of flooring, or you might make more money selling a certain level up on a product, that upsell, right? But people are always going to go for what rewards them with an experience. I love to ask people this question. We're in September right now, so we're actually closer to Christmas than we are far from it, right? But if I ask you, what did you get for Christmas in 2023? What was your favorite gift you got? Could you answer that in a split second? But if I ask you where you went on vacation this year, you could tell me right now. And
That's right.
that's the same reason. It's because you had an experience. And maybe, and I'm starting to see it finally with families, they're starting to even take their family on vacations and experiences and give those as birthday gifts and Christmas gifts, because they're starting to realize the value that time gives a family. Also in corporations, time spent with people is so valuable. That's how we create and build relationships, is spending quality time with each other. And when you do that out of the office, it doesn't matter, Sam, if you're at the Denver Zoo today or if you're at Los Cabos at the beach behind me, right? As long as we're spending time together out of the office, our relationship starts to build and bond on a different level. And as my good friend Brian Sexton always says, you can give out rewards and they're great, but trips don't burn up in a fire. If you lost everything today, you'll still have the memories of the experience that a trip or an outside experience provided for you.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts there, Howard? I mean, what have you found non-cash rewards or experiential awards very impactful in your practices?
Yeah, because well, like you said, you need your money for your basic, live day-to-day living. But the thing is, experiences, especially special experiences, are very hard to create, and they are cherished, and they do create memories. So when you're able to do that for someone, it also sends a message about the company going above and beyond, and that they're valuing you. And if there's if you're able.
And I'm not sure. Did I think we just lost you there, Howard?
Yep.
Brad, did you hear Howard?
I've lost his audio as well.
Okay, maybe just hit mute.
Oh, I think yeah, I accidentally hit mute.
We got
So
you back. Yeah.
I was just saying that these create very special, unique experiences that are treasured and remembered for years. And to the extent that you can, bring family or, your significant other with you, it shows that the company is really reaching out and cares about you as a person.
Yeah, without a doubt. And when companies, a lot of times we encourage companies to invite the significant other on the trip as well, right? It's great just to start with the employees because they do deserve the recognition. But part of our marketing tactics in that to help corporations, companies do this is we market to the spouse. And so maybe the first quarter we send, and let's just use the beach as an example. It's mama's favorite place to go, right? I tell people all the time, mama likes to go to the beach. So we're going to go to the beach. But maybe that first quarter we do a home mailer, and it's to encourage Brad to keep going, right? Here's what the goal is for the year. And if you do this many deals or this much in revenue, you're going to Cabo. But guess what? That first home mailer is addressed to Miss Norwood. And so she can see it and go, what are you doing to get us here? Right? And then she's rewarded on the trip as well, because let's face it, guys, if you're a top salesman, a top producer in your company, you're on the road. You're gone. You're missing sometimes family dinners at night. I hate that it has to happen, but sometimes it has to happen. And if I come home and say, I'm going to New Jersey next week, I've got to go meet with Howard. She says, go get the deal because I want to be at the beach. Right? Whereas if I say, I'm going to Denver to meet Sam and we're going to go play at Castle Pines, we're going to go play golf, she just hears, you're going to play golf again. But if she knows that I go get that deal and we're going to the beach, she says, go ahead. I can't wait to go to the beach. And so that recognition for a significant other is crucial as well. One of my favorite all-time stories is a client of ours decided one year to not recognize an employee of the year, but a significant other of the year. And guys, there wasn't a dry eye in the room when they gave that spouse a crystal. Her father had passed away from cancer. Husband had missed significant time away from work, helping her take care of her father. And to name her the significant other of the year, it was incredible. And I encourage anybody that's listening, get creative in that. If you need help, I'd be glad to help you, but get creative in how you can truly reward and recognize everyone that's in your organization.
I really love how you brought that up there, Brad. I mean, what I have found, we've had clients in all different industries, and including the spouse or including the family is super essential in some of these top-notch rewards. And the reason is for a lot of those things that you just mentioned. I mean, it helps creates a cheering section for the employee. Because let's face it, I mean, we've all had those days where we're coming home, we're dragging, we're like oh my God, that was a hard day. That was a tough day, and you have a couple of those, and you need somebody to kind of cheer you on, say, to get you up the next morning, to get you out there. And, because things they're not always bad forever. Sometimes they get better, and it's just the ebbs and flows of work and society. But let me tell you about another story. I once had a client that specialized in offshore energy, offshore drilling, and so forth. And they had some of their employees would go on these rigs for long shifts and be away from the family. And so at that time, the family at home felt isolated. But we designed rewards to kind of bring the family together, and also support the spouse and family while that loved one was away doing their shift on an offshore oil rig. And some of those experiential rewards, were like dinners. Sometimes it's tough for a single parent to be fixing a meal and every night, and so maybe having an occasional dinner shipped in to help that parent get through it all is a big relief. But having several non-cash reward options in your quiver as an employer is essential to ensure that you're attracting the best people and retaining your top performers. So I love what you're doing there, Brad.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned dinners. If you follow me on social media, you know one of my pet peeves is lunch in the office, especially pizza parties. Lunch in the office, everybody eats lunch, or everybody eats. You may not eat lunch particularly, but we all have to eat. It's no different than the paycheck. We've got to eat to be able to live, right? And people that provide a meal while at work and think that it's a reward couldn't be missing the target more. Eating at work becomes a culture builder, but only if you do it on a consistent schedule. It can't be just a surprise, right? Because when you come up and say, "Hey, Sam, we're gonna have lunch in the office tomorrow," all of a sudden you go, "I had plans for lunch. Maybe I was going to go meet my wife or my kids, go to their school, or I like to get out and exercise during lunch. I don't really want to stay in the office." But if all of a sudden you start saying, "Sam, we got lunch in the office, and tomorrow's Thursday, and we're going to start doing it every second Thursday of the month or every Thursday of the month. Stop by if you're hungry. If not, no worries." No different than filling your break room full of snacks. They know that it's there, and if they need it, they're welcome to come get it. That starts to build culture, but it's not a reward. It's an expectation once you do it. I love what you say about providing for a single parent family because the spouse is off working right now. If you're going to provide a meal, have you ever thought about just sending everybody a meal at home so that they could be at home and enjoy their family and take a load off, per se, right? To just relax and go, okay, that becomes a reward. All of a sudden now we don't have to cook. We know it's coming. And wow, you're going to do this at home. You're not making me go anywhere to get this or be with all of the whole company. And my wife gets nervous if we're around guys in suits and ties or whatever it might be. No, just enjoy this meal at home. That is a reward.
So I want to bring back one thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Howard. You were going to say something.
I was just remembering I was working for one company and they had something where if we had a special week, a sales week where we broke a record, they would bring in breakfast on the Monday of the following week for the whole office. And it really worked and it really was something special. And it also encouraged people to say, oh, you know what? We had a record week that last week. We're going to try to break that record this week.
Yeah, yeah. If you set it as a reward up front,
Right.
it's great. It works, right? People will work 1 to 3 times harder for an experience as a reward than they will for cash.
Right.
If you would have said, "Hey, go break the record this week and we're just going to give you a Starbucks gift card," everybody's going to continue on as normal, right? But if you do something different, and that's the key, do something different.
Right.
When you do something different, then the reward starts to take place. You also start to build the culture. I tell people all the time, the worst thing you can do is absolutely nothing.
Right.
And so, Brad, let's go through a couple of case studies and your experiential rewards. And so, what do you find? And can you tell us a story of what you find that typically works really well with your program?
Yeah, the beach works great. Again, because people love to go. Mama loves to go to the beach, but most people love to go to the beach. You can also, do the mountains, but it's no matter what it is. We talked about this at the very beginning. It's getting people out of the office, right? Yes, the food and the meals can be done, and you break records. We're going to have breakfast in here Monday morning. But if I excite you and say, even we're going to go to breakfast at the local downtown eatery, now all of a sudden we're out of the office, and that is what works, right? We don't have the confines and restraints, and we're in a different world now too, with lots of remote work where a lot of people aren't in the office every day, if at all, right? And so when you tell me I've got to go to a specific spot, it feels like a meeting. But if we're going to a spot where I've always dreamed of going, the beach, the mountains. Maybe it's even as simple as the zoo, but I know that it's not a meeting spot. Then it becomes an experience and a reward. And so where you go really matters, right? And again, it's all about doing something, but I always encourage people, get out of the office.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was telling for all you listeners out there, I was telling Brad that today I'm at the Denver Zoo, and so I'm enjoying the beauty and the sun that's out here. But the one important thing to know is that that today there happens to be a conference here, and one thing all you leaders need to understand is that you don't have to book a hotel room, some stodgy hotel room or a hotel conference center, or something like that. If you have certain venue sizes, such as the zoo or the local botanic garden, these are all nonprofits that would love your business, and also they create exceptional experiences. This is a great destination to have a discussion. So keep that in mind. Uh, One thing, Brad, I just want to bring back into play here. Now, on your experiential offsites, is work being done, or is this just all play?
We hope that it can be all play, but we also understand in today's world, and depending on who the company is, right? Uh, we hope that it can be all play, and we design the program that way. But we also understand that these things are everywhere we go, and so it's really up to the company, up to the executive team to ultimately decide how that happens. I had a guy just this past April. We were with a group in Riviera Maya, Mexico, and the group was adamant that they did not want to go to an all-inclusive resort. And because sometimes all-inclusive get a bad stigma, the food can be just so-so, and the room, it can just feel cheap. But my promise to my clients is I'm never going to take you anywhere that I wouldn't take my own family. We're going to go 4-star at a minimum, but it's going to feel 5-star no matter where we go. That's the service you're going to get from me. It's the service you're going to get from my partners, our providers. And so don't worry about the stigma of all inclusive. Well, they finally did it. And one of the attendees, while we were on the trip this past April, he came up to me. He says, "You know what the best thing about this trip has been the entire time? I haven't had to pull out my wallet or my cell phone a single time." And I said, "Mark, that's awesome." I said, "This place is all inclusive, so it's been paid for." He goes, "I don't care. I haven't had to pay for anything, and that's been the biggest reward of the entire week. It's all been taken care of, and I haven't had to do a single bit of work. It's been awesome." And that's music to a planner and a designer like myself. That's music to my ears, right? Whether it's all inclusive or not, that the company picks up the entire tab for the week, no matter what it might be, pay for as much as you can pay for, because then they truly feel rewarded. They're not reaching for a wallet, right? They're not reaching for a cell phone. They don't feel like they have to be working. And so again, that's to answer your question, Sam, it is up to the executive team. The nature of the business depends on what the business is, a lot of times. But yeah, we want it to be all play, and we design them for it to be that way if possible.
So let's dig into this a little bit more. This concept of planning. Now, you kind of mentioned it earlier in the conversation, as far as with your starter story, but why should an organization or a company choose an expert like yourself instead of just, let's say, having their internal events department or EA do this?
Sure. Well, if you want to reward your employees and your customers, whoever you're taking, if you want to reward them with a vacation, then you can do it yourself. Go ahead, because you know how it is when you go on vacation. You're doing all the work, and you get home and you go, "Man, that was great to be there, but I need a vacation from vacation. I'm kind of worn out." If you want an experience, then you need to look at an outside agency like myself, because we're going to handle everything. And when I talk about handle everything, Sam and Howard, I mean we're going to handle everything. We're going to decide what the forks, knives, and spoons are like, whether they're silver or gold, plated, how the design of the entire program works. See, when you're on vacation, you think, well, I got to get dinner reservations. No, not with us. You might have a group organized dinner and an event. We might be sitting on that beach out there with a nice little bonfire and some entertainment going on for that help enhance the experience of your dinner, right? Your award ceremony. Well, that's great. We can do all that. All right, great. What if it rains? What happens to your contract if it rains? Do you have a backup plan? Have you thought about the transportation it's going to take to get people from point A to point B? Sure, the resort will pick you up at the airport and they'll get you, but are they going to have a personalized sign that says comp team right on the front of it, or whatever the name of your company might be, where your people know and have verbatim directions on the number of steps it takes to get from gate 6 to outside carousel A and go look for the tropical incentives van with your company logo on it, right? What's the personalized experience like if it's on a vacation versus is it a true experience? And so we handle every detail of all that. It's more than flights and hotel rooms. Your President's Club, your incentive trip, it's a lot more than that. It's about, again, providing that experience. Did somebody come up with the idea of let's honor a significant other? Let's have a significant other of the year, right? What other kind of awards or encouragement can we give people? It's notorious for this. I love to pay attention to details and what people are talking about. We're in Banff, Canada 2 years ago, hanging out in the afternoon. Guys were watching football games on TV, sitting out on a back patio, and a guy says, man, I sure would kill for some chicken wings right now. We were nowhere near chicken wing, but I went to the other side of the resort where I knew there was some, ordered a whole thing of chicken wings, and next thing you know, the service team brings in chicken wings. That made it an experience for that group of guys that were just hanging out, enjoying some football games in the afternoon. No different than at the cabanas right here by the pool. Somebody's going to want a fruity drink with an umbrella in it. Well, there's servers going around doing that. But what if somebody wants a massage and they want it right now? How can you make that happen? Everything is possible in the incentive world, and you've got to have that mindset that you're going to make it possible for your people.
I love that. And so Howard, I just want to give you a little bit of a challenge here. So when you think about all those experiential rewards that you've had in your career, can you list off a few of them?
Well, one was the one I mentioned prior, but that was for the whole company. But it was something special because we all looked forward to it, and it also build helped build the interactions between the team members too, because it was the whole company getting together, and it wasn't a large company, for these free breakfasts. So that was always something special. I'm trying to think of other things that I've had. I haven't really had too many company sponsored trips. Most of them were business trips. So again, you're being sent away, but you're not with your significant other and you're working. So yeah. I mean, they're nice trips, but it's not like this. So no, I can't say I've had the benefit of doing this. My wife is working for a company now where they do something special, where after 20 years of service, they work them. They'll send you anywhere in the world that you want to go, and so that's something that's special. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I've been lucky. So the ones that come to my memory, I remember one of the first trips I had. It wasn't necessarily a trip; it was an outing. I was just a young professional and starting out in a new career, and I didn't know the team. Mm-hmm. And so to celebrate me coming on the team, my boss took us all out to play golf together. And I wasn't and I didn't know how to play. Well, I played a little bit of golf in college, but it was a great way to get on the green and to meet everybody on the team and have conversations and just have a bit of fun together. So that was a good time. Another one I can remember was like we had an offsite and we did another type of team builder where we all got together and we cooked our own dinner. the department. So we learned how to cook, and it was like pot stickers and Asian cuisine, which was pretty tasty. We had a chef that was walking us through the process and how to do this. But I can remember we all had our chef hats on and all dressed up in our chef outfits, and it was great. And to this day, I can make pot stickers. So that's the thing that it was a good skill builder. So and other ones, it's like there was another trip where we all gathered and went to Napa Valley. And we stayed at some nice hotels and went out and drank wine and it was a mix in of conversation of business and personal lives. It was a great way to get work done and at the same time have fun and enjoy the setting and the beauty. So I just remember all those things, and I think that's the point. And is that these type of rewards are unusual. Sometimes, if you ask an employee, "Hey, do you want to go drinking wine with the team, or do you want this extra cash in your pocket?" Typically, people are going to say, "Well, geez, just give me the cash," And so, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is to create an experience, to create rewards that really drive behavior and retain your people. Because cash comes and goes and we forget about it, but experiences we remember, as Brad was telling us.
And these are very customized and individualized. So some people say that are not very outgoing, and they'll say, I don't really want to go to team drinks, or they feel it as more as an obligation versus saying, okay, we're going to give you a trip anywhere you want to go. And, we're going to take care of it from A to Z. You have nothing to worry about. Just tell us what you want to do, and we'll make all the arrangements. That is special.
That's right.
Special.
That's right.
And you don't have to do any work.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of people will say, well, I'll just take the cash and I'll do the trip myself. And then companies will give them the cash, and a year later, hey, what'd you do with the trip? The money, again, it just leaves. It doesn't return.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So Brad, as we wrap up here, I mean, what are the things that you would like our listeners to remember from this conversation?
Number one thing, and I don't mean this in an entitled way whatsoever, but you deserve it. You deserve it. And the people that are around you and helping you build your team, they deserve it too. And people tell me all the time, well, we don't have the budget to do those types of trips that you're talking about. And listen, the trip I'm talking about is just outside your office. If we go to the beach, if we go to an international country, that's fine. But be an explorer in your own town. Get out of the office and reward your people. This is one of the easiest times of year to start an incentive program, and that's because 80% of the population pays attention to what's on the TV on the weekend, and that's football. You probably have a college football team within 50 miles of you. You probably have an NFL team within 120 miles of you. And take advantage of that opportunity to create an experience. Guess what? You don't even have to go to the actual football game, but use your hometown team as motivation. Tailgate at the office. Set up the parking lot as a tailgate on Friday. Let the team hit a goal this week, and then tailgate Friday afternoon. And if we're not all CU fans, maybe we're CSU fans. It's a big week in Fort Collins, Sam. See what I'm talking about? I'm not even in Colorado, and I know what's going on in the football world, right? Who's Rutgers got this week, Howard? It's a big week. People might not even attended Rutgers, but if they work in the New Jersey area and we have a chance to bring the football game into the office, I can wear my Arkansas Razorback stuff. Right. I can wear Iowa Hawkeye stuff. I can wear CU Buffalo. Whoever it might be, we'll tailgate and have fun. It starts to create culture. We call it the culture of achievement. When you start using these rewards and incentives to help build your culture. But the most important thing you can do is to just do something. Do something.
So this has been a great conversation, Brad. And so I just want to thank you for your time today. But for those individuals out there that are listening in and say, hey, I want to get a hold of you and put one of these experiential trips together, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, and let's just have a conversation. Like I said, the beach isn't for everybody. The mountains aren't for everybody. But get a hold of me. I'm on LinkedIn, primarily on social media. Brad Norwood. You should be able to find me on LinkedIn. But this is my favorite thing to do. I give everybody my cell phone number. It's on my website at dreamitpro.com. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my Facebook. It's everywhere you can search Brad Norwood. And my phone number is 479 466 6907. That's 479 466 6907. You can call me. If I answer, I'm available and we'll talk. If I don't, text me. It's 2024. Don't leave me a voicemail, right? That's not an experience anymore. Just send me a text. Let me know your name. I've got your number because you text me. These cell phones are great. And let's set up a time to have a conversation. I would love even to just help you answer questions about how to get started. And if it leads to me helping be the architectural engineer of exceptional experiences for you, thank you, Sam, for that tagline, then I would love to be able to do that, obviously. But I'd love nothing more than to answer a text back or a phone call from you just to answer the simple questions that you might have on how you can get started.
Well, it's been a pleasure. So thank you so much for your time today, Brad. And I really appreciate the conversation. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you guys so much.
Now I want to go to the beach.
No kidding.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's right. We got something to work for now.
All right. For all you listeners out there, thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next week on the People Strategy Forum. Take care.